So we need to.
There's something else out here.
All right, let me give it a try. Everybody gets a try here.
There you go, lady.
All right.
I'm about to go. Yeah.
Are these the keys?
I don't literally remember now. Oh my goodness.
And you start asking questions.
Okay, all right. So, Mom, who started this business here? And when did they start it?
My father started in he came here in the office, opened the office in 1923. This is when the office opened. But before, he was a real estate broker before, but he still had part of the office in his father's house in Olney Avenue. And then when they here. And then my mother and father got married in 1925. And when they got married, they looked for a place to stay. And they looked all over, and my mother never liked it. She says, no, I want to stay in back of the office. So that's what happened when the office was here, and then they decided to live back here.
Do you know what got your father interested in real estate? Why did he start the business?
Yeah, he started the business. There's something, and I just cannot remember. I know he wanted to did he sign up to go to school? And I think he didn't sign up early enough, so he couldn't get into school. But then, I don't know, he just became interested in the real estate and got his license.
So that means, so you grew up here?
Yes.
What do you remember about growing up
I
on
was
Fifth
born
Street?
here.
You were born here?
And I can remember because we just had the first floor. And
So, do you remember did you go to school in the neighborhood?
Yes.
Were there many children that lived nearby?
no, not too many. No, I never had too many children to play with because there was nobody living here because it was a commercial.
So who did you?
There was
who
only
did you?
one little girl that lived right across from the driveway. Carol Granger was her name, and her mother had a hairdresser there. So we grew up together. In fact, she is still living.
Oh,
And I still keep in touch once in a while. She lives in Olney. But that was the only one I had to play with.
so then mostly you played with your cousins?
And then later on, Walt Weber, my one cousin, then we got together. Or Alfred, and we used to play outside in the sandbox. And Alfred always kids because we used to make these pies. And I would say to Alfred, here, try it, it's good. And Alfred said, so I'm not going to eat sand. I said, just taste it, it's good. But I can remember that. But then, so then I grew up here. And then later on, when we needed more room, because the bathroom was down the basement. And that's when we put the steps in the back. And that's when we took and added on the back on the second floor. And that's where we then moved. And as I said, the person in the front was still the chiropractor. And that was, I guess, until I got older. And then when I was ready to because I went to elementary school. And I used to walk every day, 4 times a day. Used to walk in the morning, come back for lunch, then you walked again after lunch, and then you came back 4 times. And it was about a mile one way.
Wow. When your father started it and then he passed away, then who ran the business?
Okay, when he passed away, I was 8 years old. And my mother came from Romania, and she didn't know what to do. She had no idea she could ever run a business. And that's when my grandfather said, we will try to keep the office open. And Uncle Al, my father's youngest brother, was a plumber. And then in 1937 it was a depression, and there was no work. So then Grandpa said, we'll try to keep the office open. So my grandfather got his license, and then Uncle Al came here in the office. And he worked, and finally he got his license. And he would come in all the time. And then when I graduated from high school, I worked out for about a year. And then got married, and Uncle Al said, get your real estate license. So that's when I got my license.
So did you start living here as soon as you got married?
Yes. Yeah, we lived here. When we got married, we lived here. And we took, Dr. Darrow then moved across on Wyoming Avenue. So then we took the front apartment. And we had, the bedroom was in the front. Because I laugh at it, I keep thinking when people say about noise. And I said, I'm used to noise because the trolleys used to run right in front of the window. So that's when we lived there. And then when Ken was born, okay, he had his, we had his crib next to us in the bedroom. And then we had a living room, and then we had a little kitchen. And then when Paul came, then we broke the door from the kitchen so it could go back to two bedrooms in the back, which my mother and Tundi used. And then we finally thought that we needed more room. And my cousin Alfred, Al's thing, he said he needed more room too. And that's when we looked for the ground. And that's when that's where we found the ground in Cane Drive. So we bought on one side, and Uncle Al put on the other side, and then Alfred next to him.
And then once you moved to Cane Drive, did you come to work here every day?
Every day, yeah. Until I broke my hip in 2014.
So what did you have to do when Uncle Al passed away to keep the business going? Was that easy for you?
It was and it wasn't, because Uncle Al did everything. He was one that sold the houses. He went to the settlements. I just worked here in the office and did the paperwork. And then when Uncle Al died, there was a couple real estate agents that really helped me to get started and started to do. And then I just got used to it. And then when I got married, I had got my license right away. That was before Uncle Al died. So I did have my license. It's just that I didn't do much in here until after he died.
So what would you describe, what kind of business was it? What all kinds of things did they do here?
Well,
or do you do?
We sold homes. We collected rent for people. And that's why, and had insurance. Yeah, everything. And the thing I think people don't realize is true, because when you had a real estate broker's license and you had a small business, fine. Okay, you sold the house to the person, all right? And then if the person said, okay, we're going to rent the property, then you collected the rent for the person. And because you had an insurance license, you could write the insurance for them, which meant that you always had income.
And when
it wasn't like some offices now, where once you sell the house, you get the commission, but that's it.
When did you start doing taxes and notaries? Was that always part of the business?
I don't know. We did income tax for a long time for people when it was all on paper. Uncle Al did it too, but that wasn't. And then I guess I got my notary when Uncle Al died. That's when I got my notary, and then even my insurance license I didn't have when Uncle Al died. And home insurance gave me a temporary license until I took the test. And used to.
So has the business changed a lot since you first started? Or has the neighborhood changed? Since you grew up here, obviously it's changed.
I
guess.
don't know. I didn't see much of changes. I don't remember real changes. I mean, to me, people say, "Oh, look, I wouldn't go down that neighborhood anymore." To me, it's fine. The neighbors are nice. Neighbors have changed, but to me, the neighbors so nice, and everybody now watches for me. Modern age, they always watch, and everybody looks after each other here. It's a nice neighborhood.
So what's one of your favorite, has been one of your favorite things about working at the office?
I don't know. It's just getting to know people, and it's so different having, I think, your own business, and you get to know your clients personally as friends. They're not just like clients and you never see them or you don't know who they are. I think that's one of the things with the small business that you get to.
And you feel like you're helping them?
Oh yeah, you always tried to help people if they needed help. Or I can remember, and still do, except for some people that can't pay their insurance premium, and I will say, look, I'll pay it for you, pay me afterwards. And as long as I still think, as long as I've been in business, people always pay me back. Maybe it's about a couple years, but they have always paid me back. And so it's funny, I got to know like families will stay together, Gina, if you have a small business. But I was the only one here. I never had anybody work for me. I never worked.
So you're the boss.
I'm the boss. And that's the difference, I think. And you make the decisions. Nobody else makes the decisions.
Gonna keep working?
Yeah, I'm never going to retire. People ask me if I'm going to retire. I said, no, I'm never going to retire. How you doing? Good? Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
What do you think about when you think of Delores?
We are in this neighborhood now. This is our 50th year.
50. 50.
And I want to tell you about your grandma. Your grandma was a jewel to this neighborhood.
A jewel.
A treasure. For people that got to know her, like I did, and she got to know us, and she helped us in any way she could with real estate advice, with mortgages, always in the most honest and simple way possible. Never any doubt or any. This is what I can tell you. Always working, always here.
We have used nobody else, and we are very happy with her services.
How long have you been working with her?
With Mommy, like 45 years,
Is it that long?
49 years.
49 years.
that we are
Oh my
here.
gosh.
Yes, we bought all the buildings. They settled with Mommy. She did all the lawyer research.
Taxes?
Everything. We never made a mistake. Never. I think she knows everything about real estate needed. We trust her.
Come on.
As a matter of fact, we buy the CDs from Shelter Hills.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because
And-
not only with real
Yes,
estate,
Shelton Hills,
but
yeah, they're
with
still there.
advice in
Yes.
general. Because she's really smart.
And you know
And
how
she
you
knows
can
a
have
lot.
troubles with real estate, that a paper is not ready, that something didn't go right, not with Dolores.
Ah.
So Shelton Hills is because she's on the board of
Yes,
trustees?
because we've talked about banking,
Investments.
and universities and colleges and children and all kinds of things.
Oh, everybody loves grandma.
How long have you known my mother?
2001.
2001. I buy the
16
baby
years. Wow.
in
So
2000.
is she a good neighbor?
The best.
Thank you. Hi.
So much. We never had a problem. Never, ever.
Ever.
And even when I didn't pay the rent for months, she never gave me a hard time.
We've heard she's pretty generous.
She is, well, she wasn't generous. She was very fair.
Ah, fair.
It's open now. This came off.
The door handle?
Out and open. Let's try once more. Out and open. Let's try once more. Out and open. Let's try once more. Out and open. Let's try once more.